In this video, I'm going to show you how to summarize the text of a user and also how to generate a document containing that summarized text. Okay, so my name is Rachel Rabo. I'm a Microsoft MVP, a Power Platform and a Dynamics 365 CRM developer, and I use Copilot every day. Okay, so this video is divided into chapters. So if there is a particular chapter you want to watch, you can go directly to the chapter and watch it. So don't forget to subscribe and like this video. So this is how this process works. Right now, I have created the agent. This is the topic. Okay, I've created the topic and this is my trigger. My trigger phrases are summarize this, create documents, create summary document and summarize this text. So what this particular conversation node does is that it summarizes the response of a user and also generates a document containing that summary back to the user. And we can test it by using the trigger phrase. So I'm going to test it at the right side of my screen. I'm just going to say, summarize this text. Okay. And the agent is going to ask me, what text do you want me to summarize? So I'm just going to pick a document from this point and then paste it here. Okay. So you can see it gives me a summary of that text I just pasted. Okay. So this is the summary. And then the next question that the agent asks me is that, do you need the Word document of the summary? I'm going to click on the yes button. And it's going to give me a link to the document containing the summary. So if I click on this link, so this is it. Okay, so this is the summary of that document. So I want to create another topic just to show you how the process looked like how that was done. If I go to add a topic, I'm just going to click from blank. Okay, then we have trigger phrases. We have trigger phrase. I'm just going to click on the edit icon and I'm going to use something a little bit different because I already have a topic doing this already. Okay, this text. So you can add as much trigger phrase as you want to. Okay, okay, so you can add as much as you want to. So the next thing I'm going to do now is that I'm going to add a question node right now. Okay, can you provide me the can you provide me the text? Can you provide the text you want me to summarize? Okay, so where we have identify, we're going to change it from multiple choice option to user's entire response. So what I'm doing in this stage is that I'm trying to save the response of the user. I want the user to be able to respond. Like I want them to be able to respond to this question. Okay, and we are going to test it by, I'm just going to save it. I'm going to name this bot demo. I'm going to name this topic demo YouTube. Okay. Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to test it. I'm going to just refresh this. In case if you're not seeing this on your screen, I'm going to close it. So if I just go to the top of my screen on test, if I click on test, you see this chat is going to pop up. So now I'm going to use one of the trigger phrase. I'm going to use one of the trigger phrase. I need to summarize this text. Okay. So it's going to ask me, can you provide the text you want me to summarize? So I'm going to just click on this. So you see that happens and it stops there. So I just want to show you that, okay, this is the reason why I'm using this question node and why I am using user's entire response. Okay, so I want to be able to save the user's response and I want them to be able to give me a response to my question. I don't want to use a multiple choice option. And we have our save users response as. So this is a variable. This is the place that we are actually saving the user's response. So if you want to change the name, so maybe if you want to change the name from variable one, you can easily click on it and change the name. Okay, that is fine. You can change the name. So I'm going to scroll down and click on this add node. Then the next one we are going to be using is the generative AI node. And the generative AI node, what it's going to be doing for us is that it's going to be helping us summarize the text of the user. And how can I get that generative node? If I click on the plus, I'm going to go to advanced and click on generative answers. Okay, so if I scroll down, we have our inputs. Our input is going to be our variable one coming from the question node. So maybe if you have your variable named something else, so just that is what I'm doing. I'm just clicking on my variable coming from the question node. Okay, then on the data source, you can see this edit icon on the data source. I'm just going to click on this edit. Okay, so in these properties we have where we can use knowledge source. I don't want to use knowledge source. Okay, we have web search, we have classic data. So leave this on where you have allow the AI to use its own general knowledge. So leave this on. So what I want you to do next is that on this text box where we have customize your response with variables and plain language. So we are going to be adding a prompt here. And this part of it is very, very crucial. And the reason is because it's the prompt that you use, like how efficient and clear your prompt is. That is what is going to help you with summarizing the text of the user. Okay, so it's very important that you understand that, because if your prompt is not concise or unclear, it will not be able to give you the expected results that you are looking for. So right here, I'm going to be using this prompt. Summarize the following user's inputs in 2 to 3 sentences. So this is the prompt I'm going to be using. And then I'm going to click on this insert variable. I'm going to click on it. I just want to call the variable coming from the question node. Okay, I'm going to click on it and then click on variable one. So now we have summarize the following user input in 2 to 3 sentences. So if a user asks for a text to be summarized, when they paste that text, the text should be summarized in 2 to 3 sentences. Okay, so always your prompts might be different from mine, but always make sure that your prompt is very, very, very direct and concise. Okay, so I'm going to save this. Okay, so now we are done with that. So let's check how it works now. I'm going to refresh this and I'm going to use a trigger again. I need to summarize this text. So can you provide the text? Can you provide the text you want me to summarize? So I'm going to, there's something I want to show you first. I want to show you a limitation with this. So the limitation is that I copied this text right now and I want to go back to the chat. So if I come here and click on it, this would go because it has 1420 words. But if it is more than 2000 words, I'm going to get an error. Words. And I just want you to see the limitation that it has. So I'm going to paste it. So you can see it has it that there is a limit. It cannot be more than 2000 words. But right now I have 3648. Okay, so that's a limit that you need to be very aware of. So I want you to know that. So now I'm going to come back here. I'm just using this as a text. Okay, so I'm going to come back here and copy from this point to this point. Then I'll paste this text here. Okay, so you can see the generative AI is going to summarize that text for me. So you can see this particular place, this is what we had, like this is what we pasted, the text that we pasted, and this is the text that generative AI has given me. So you can add a prompt on your generative AI where you say, I want the word to be concise, clear, and to also pick important points from the text. Okay. So your prompt, as I said before, your prompt is very, very important. So the next thing we are going to do right now, we are going to work on being able to generate a document. Okay, being able to generate a document that has this summarized text. And we are going to be doing that by first of all creating a condition. We want to give the user an option. We're going to create a condition. Then the variable is going to also be variable one. And remember, your variable name might be different from mine. And I'm getting variable one from the question node. Okay, variable one. Then is equal to the value. I'm going to click on yes. Okay, let's not forget there's something that we are missing. I need to create a question node first that affects this condition. And the question is that, do you need a generated document containing your summarized text? Okay. Now I'm going to be using on identify, I'm going to be using the option yes and no, new option, yes, the next new option, no. Okay. So now if the next new option, no. So now select the variable for variable 2. So instead of it coming from variable 1, it's going to be coming from variable 2. And the reason is because our question node here that is asking about creating a generated document, the user's response, like either they choose yes or no, the user's response is going to be saved in the variable 2. So you can see here it's going to be saved in this variable, which is variable 2. And the name of yours might be different. You can easily change it. Don't forget that you can easily change it if you want to. So the response of this question is going to be saved in variable 2. So that is the reason why in the condition I'm going to be selecting variable 2. And then where we have enter or select a value, I'm going to be selecting one of the options for the user, which is yes. So if the user selects yes, I want this particular action to happen. So for me, if the user selects yes, I want them to get a generated document. And how can we do that? I'm going to click on add node. You can see where I clicked on the add node. I did not click on it here, but I clicked on it on the condition that has yes. So if you click on this particular point, this is general. Okay, so I'm going to click on this plus sign here. So now I'm going to go to add an action. Okay, I'm going to go to add an action, then click on new agent flow. Before we do that, let's save our changes. Okay, so now I'm going to go back, click on plus sign, then click on add an action, which is new agent flow. So right now we have our trigger as when an agent calls the flow. So I'm going to add an input. If you already work with Power Automate and you have worked with manually trigger a flow, it's mostly the same thing, okay? So when you see when an agent calls the flow, don't be scared. So add an input. I'm going to click on text. Then you can add anything you want here. I'm just going to say documents or text generated, okay? Then I'm going to leave that. So this plus sign, I'm going to click on plus and look for the compose action. Okay, so on this compose action, I'm just going to paste this where I have my HTML, my body. So I have my H2, it's just like your normal HTML format. Then I have my P, which is paragraph. So the trigger we have, I'm just going to call it here in between the paragraph, the opening and closing tag. So I'm just going to click on this firebolt icon. Then I'm going to click on text generated. I'm not going to click on body. Body is also coming from the trigger, but I'm not going to click on body. The body just contains trigger body. That's all that it contains. So there's really nothing there. So I'm going to click on text generated, and that is that. Okay. So the next step is that, so what we are doing here is we are trying to create the file. We are trying to first create a file, okay, then with the format of your Word document or whatsoever document you want to create. Then the next thing is we are going to create a shareable link, because right now Copilot Studio cannot give you a, like when you summarize the text, Copilot Studio cannot give you a document file. Okay, so we are going to be creating a shareable link where the user can click on the link and have access to the file. So the first thing first is to create the file, create file, and I'm going to be working with OneDrive. So I'll click on the create file coming from OneDrive. So after clicking on that, I'm going to create a folder path. Okay, so I have created a folder, okay, in OneDrive, and I named the folder summary. So it depends on how you want it to be like. You can create a folder, you can just leave it anyhow you want it to look like. And you can name your folder whatever name you want to name it. So I'm going to come back here where we have folder paths. I'm just going to click on this folder icon and click on roots, the small icon close to the roots, and click on my folder summary. So for the file name, there's one thing to notice is that if I just leave it as a one name like summary, okay, like the file name, if I leave it as summary, the disadvantage about this is that any document that is generated, like any document that is generated, if well, any document that is generated with this name summary, it will be generated, it will save in the folder. But if another document is generated again with this same name summary, okay, it's going to replace the document that is already saved in the OneDrive folder. So I'm going to try to avoid that issue by writing summary of your text, so you can have it as any way you want it. But the difference I want to do is that I want to add the time when it was generated. So I'm going to click on the FX, which is for the expression, and I'm going to use UTC now and click on add. So that is that. Then for the content of the file, I'm going to be using what we created in the compose. I'm going to be using the output of the compose now. So I'm going to click on the Thunderbolt icon, then I'm going to click on output from the compose. So the next one, the last one we're working with right now is sharing link. Okay, which is create share link, and this is coming from also OneDrive. So on the file, I'm going to click on it, click on the Thunderbolt icon, and click on ID, which is coming from create file. Then the link type, I can select it that if I want it to be editable or view. So I'm going to click on view. Okay. Then we have link scope. We have anonymous or organization. I'm going to leave it at what it was before. I'm going to close this. So there's one other thing that we are missing right now is that you need to add the format of your documents. Okay. So I'm going to leave mine at .html. I tried using .docs. Okay. I tried using .docs, but I was having the document was being created, but I could not open the document. So maybe if you try it on your own and like maybe you check it to .docs and it works for you, that's brilliant. I would like to know in the comment section, like if you use .docs and it works for you. I'd like to know in the comment section what you did or if you ran into any error. Okay. So, but for now, I'm going to use .html, and where we have our response to the agents, the last action we have here, respond to the agent. So if you notice from the trigger, when an agent calls the flow, we have an input. So this is an input, text generated, and I'm going to explain more on this input. Okay, so text generated, then respond to the agent. So this will be an output, and this output is the flow. Okay, so this output is the flow. I'm going to click on add an output, click on text, and then give this document generated. So it's not compulsory that you must name yours like I did, so you can give it any name you want to. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the Thunderbolt icon. Then under create share link, I'm going to click on web URL. So this is just to give the user the link to that document. Okay, so you can see we have our compose action, which is this. So you are going to see how that data is being produced. Summary of your inputs. I'm going to change this from summary of your inputs to summary of your text. Okay, then I'm going to publish. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my agent, which is the agent I was working with. Okay, now I'm going to call that flow that we just created. So you see, we have the flow here, and you can see the flow does not have a name because I think I forgot to name the flow, but this is it right here. So that particular place we saw in that flow where I named the input as text generated. So that input is asking for the data, like the data from the agent, that response that was gotten from the user, we have to put it here, which is the variable one. Okay, that we are using to save. We're using that variable one to save the user's response, and we are also using it to save the summary of the text from generative AI. So now we are going to add the last node, which is send a message. And what this send a message is doing is just to what this send a message is doing is just to give a response to the user, like, okay, this is the link. So let's say this is the link to the document containing your summarized text. Okay, containing your summarized text. Then I'm going to click on this X. So this document generated, it's the output coming from the flow. So that is what we are going to be using here. I'm just going to click on document generated. So that is the variable I'm going to be using. So now I'll save. So let's go ahead and run the flow. Okay, I need to summarize this text. Can you provide the text you want me to summarize? Okay, so I'm going to copy this and paste it here. Okay, so it gives me a summary of that. Then it asks me, do you need a generated document? It asks me, do you need a generated document containing your summarized text? If I say no, it will not give me the document. But if I say yes, so now what is happening now is that this is an expected error that you can see. We're going to solve it right now. So let's first of all solve this and come back and test our flow. So it's asking for additional permission required to run the action. Okay, so I'm going to click on connect. Let's go connect that action. It's just coming from the OneDrive. So it takes me to this page. I'm going to click on connect. So this is just coming from OneDrive, the connection. Then I'm going to click on, you can see this has marked it good. Okay, then I'm going to click on submit. Now refresh. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my agent and click on retry. So now you can see, since I clicked on this yes, it's going to provide me, this is the link to the document containing your summarized text. So if I click on this text, this is what it's going to provide me. So if you notice on the compose action, we had our HTML, a small HTML inside of it, and we have the heading 2, which is the H2 as summary of your text. Okay, so that is what is just showing here. This is coming from the compose, and also we added the inputs coming from the agent, so which is the summarized text. So this is also what we have here. So the user can get the copy. If they want to also download it, they can just click on this icon here and have their own personal copy. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. I have videos on Copilot Studio, and I'm also welcome to answering any question you have about Copilot Studio or anything you want me to do on Copilot Studio. So see you in my next video. Bye. And don't forget to subscribe.